Okay, so now it's time to speak to Chris, the head honcho, the boss man, and one of the owners of Squape itself. So let's get some more information going on about these bad boy tanks. So thanks very much for joining me today, Chris.
Thank you very much.
I'm looking forward to finding out a little bit more about these this particular Squape EC, as well as having a little bit of a chat about the ethos about Squape and, you know, more about the company to let the viewers know, because it's not quite as big as some of the other kind of tanks that people may have heard of, things like your K-Funds and all that sort of stuff. So can you tell us a little bit about Squape, how it started, when it started, and you know, what drove you in that respect?
Okay, yeah, thank you for the question. I'm happy to be here and to explain a little bit more about Stattqualm and the Squape. So the company is called Stattqualm. It's a German word play. It means instead of smoke, or instead of smoke.
Gotcha.
So back in 2012, I started vaping. It was May, something about that, and a good friend of me showed me some good vape stuff like an Ego VW.
Yeah, I remember that.
W, I guess. I was quite impressed about this new thing here in Switzerland. So I watched some reviews, and yeah, after a few months, we met Lucas, one of my friends, and Mark, and we decided to bring a website to show people where to buy stuff out of Switzerland, because in Switzerland it's not allowed, still not allowed, it wasn't allowed and still not allowed to buy nicotine liquids, for example.
Right.
So we bring up a website where we show different other websites where you can buy things and that. So, and on the other hand, we decided to bring an RTA. For ourselves, so not for the public, and we designed this one, and we produced it. To keep it a little bit short, we produced it, and then we showed it to several people in Switzerland, and they said, bring it to the market. And so the Squape V1 was born.
Yeah.
Squape means Swiss quality vape, or Stattqualm vape. So that's why it's called Squape. And yeah, so we wanted to bring an RTA, which is more simple, which is safe, because all our Squapes, they have a special kind of chamber. It's made of aluminium, but immetallized aluminium. It's also used in the aerospace, in the military, and the good thing about it is very strong, and it doesn't. How do you say it? You don't get any short circuits in the chamber if you have the wire too long or whatever and touching the chimney.
Yeah.
So it doesn't happen. So this was one of the main goals we had to achieve a more safer and more simple RTA than already has been on the market. So.
Okay.
Therefore, the Squape started off, and yeah, we made pretty good. We sold the first batch, was 500 pieces, and then we moved on, and we stopped at 2,700 pieces for the Squape V1, and we were very excited about this number. And yeah, so the next one was the Squape R, which was a huge success, and then the Squape Ec series, and then now the Squape E series.
Absolutely. I think that probably the first time that I noticed you guys when a lot of people were getting all excited about the Squape R. Yeah. I think that was something that really kind of it grabbed hold of people, particularly in that kind of maybe slightly higher end. Would you say? Would that be fair?
Yeah. It's because the Squape R was the first atomizer on the market with different decks, so you could use the same Ati with different decks. Just pop the deck out, pop a new one in. If you prefer dual coil or single coil, or with how was it? Not cotton. Well, how was it called? Silicon. Silicon. Not silicon.
Silicon back in the day, and then with your cotton things and.
Yeah, so you could choose different styles of materials in those decks, like mesh or something like that.
Okay.
So this was the first Eti. This kind, and so we were also, because of the pricing, and we were quite in the high-end business.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a good sort of segue. Well done for that one. To go into the pricing aspect, because yes, I mean it has attracted a lot of attention, but in that higher end world because of the price, and that's one of the reasons that we're going to be talking about. Excuse me. The tank that we're going to be going on to in a little while, because that is a little bit of a lower price. But were you concerned about bringing a tank sort of over that kind of significantly, really over that £100 mark over in the UK, or kind of in that upper price range, shall we say?
No, we're not concerned about it, because we knew we can't make it cheaper. So
okay,
the market, and we saw, we knew Kaifens, and we knew Golden Greek, and some other quite nice and good tanks on the market, still on the market, and they are all on the same price level.
Yes, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
And we want to play in this range. We never wanted to play in the very cheap range, because we couldn't we couldn't, like the Chinese, we couldn't do that.
Absolutely.
This price range is nothing for us. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a good thing to go into with regards to, a lot of people don't recognize the fact that a mass produced product in China is so cheap because A, of mass production, B, of workforce costs and all that sort of stuff. And obviously kind of materials cost as well can be significantly cheaper over there. Now, when it comes to Stattqualm and the products that you guys have brought out, what makes them the money they are?
So the whole process. I mean, the development here in Switzerland, we work a lot on a new tank. So from the start, from the first scratch to the release, it takes a year.
Yeah.
And in this year, several people are involved in the whole process. So developing, and then prototyping. We produce several prototypes, which are very expensive if you just produce 10 or 20 pieces each prototype. And we have sometimes on the Squape Ec we had about 3 or 4 prototypes, and on the E we had also 3 prototypes. So
and when you say about these prototypes, that's that you would get, so you would produce 1 or 2 to start with, then you'd make a change and go, okay, the airflow or whatever needs to be a little bit different. So now let's get another 2 or 3 printed or made up, and so on and so forth.
On the paper, it looks always good. If you produce it and you use it every day, you see some flaws. You see, we could do this. We could make it this particular thing better, and so we have to move on. And so a lot of people are involved in this process, also in the manufacturing. And at the end, if we know, this product, we're gonna release it, we produce it, and then after the production, we have a QC, which involves about 7 people. I think it's about 7 people. Yes, the whole process with assembling and checking the ETIs. Each ETI will be checked by several people. So, yes. And this makes it, I think, expensive, because it's made in Switzerland. It's an expensive country. People earn a good money here, and so and as a lot of people are involved in the whole process, this is making the price. So I think personally, the Squape has been and are always fair priced.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is that sort of increased cost of being in Switzerland and producing these products. But the idea of being able to produce something, QC the heck out of it to make sure that everything that does go out is as good as you can make it, I think is invaluable, because we see so many products these days that come to the end user and then, the threads don't work on them, or the O-rings are all, they don't fit properly, or whatever happens. Yeah. And when you've got a product, and this is something that I did mention to you off camera, was the fact that through the X-Dreams, through to the E-Motion, and now the EC, I've not found any issues with anything along those lines, with anything threading, with anything of the construction of the tank whatsoever. And it's not something that I've heard of from other users either. So I think that that's certainly something to be commended.
Yeah, so that's our main goal. If we release something and we bring it to the market, we do our very best to bring it perfect.
Yeah,
it can happen that sometimes one or two is slipping through the QC. That this happens if you produce a batch of 3,000 or 4,000 pieces. This can happen, but our main goal is to bring Swiss quality, and yeah, so you have to pay for it.
Yeah, definitely.
If something doesn't work, we have our service. So
absolutely. So talking about your service, what kind of aftercare do you give people? Do you offer people?
I mean, we still offer a glass for the V1. So it's since 2013 the release of the V1, and we still offer glasses and spare parts. So this is I think it's not common in the mass producers. So like, I mean, Suemesto and I think also Golden Greek or like Typhoon, the guys from the Typhoon, they also do the same thing, you know, like the high quality, high end.
Yeah.
If you are playing in the high end game, I think high end is not only the device, it's also the service. So if you have a problem, you can directly contact us or the shop, and they get in contact with us, and we will take care of you as best as we can. You know?
Yeah. Obviously, if I drop my mod with the tank on it and then ran over it in the car, that's not your fault. So I wouldn't expect
mostly not.
It's something else. Then no, it's great to be able to have that service. So I think probably, and would I be right in saying before we talk about this brand new tank, we maybe take a step back and look at the emotion first? Because would I be right in saying that without the emotion, then the new EC may not have kind of existed?
Yeah, also, you mean if the emotion didn't exist, the EC never came?
Yeah.
Though, as we developed the emotion, we already knew that we want to bring the EC.
Yeah.
That was the whole. If we develop something, we look at on the longer side on the other, or on the long term. Gotcha. We just don't just throw the tank out on the market and then bring another one in 1 month later or 2 months later. So we want to run this over a year at least.
Yeah.
So
gotcha.
we said, okay, we can bring the emotion, and you know, these days the hype is going away very fast. So the hype is going down very fast. So we thought about we bring also a more affordable tank. It's still not cheap. It's the most affordable Squape ever, but it's still not cheap. And this was was already involved in the process at the beginning.
Gotcha.
This one.
Okay, so the emotion at that stage would have been the kind of the all bells and whistles with the top fill and sort of that extra length maybe, and maybe a little bit more machining going into it. But in the back of your mind, you were already going, well, do you know what I want to do is I do want to produce something that is simpler and that is a little bit more basic for those end users as well.
We wanted to have a look, how is the emotion accepted in the market first. You know, we knew already about the EC, but we wanted to see how is the emotion is accepted in the market. How is the how do you say I can't say it properly. People, how it is accepted, let's say like this. If the people like it, you know, and how about the decks? Are they good or not? And we want to see if we can take it a step further. And therefore we wanted to check it first with the emotion, with the more expensive tank, with the more fancy tank, and then we will bring slightly cheaper, or not slightly, a lot cheaper tank for the same weight we produced with the emotion. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So we can go into the new EC then. Now, hopefully this video is going out on the 1st, which is the day it's being released, at least in the UK. Is that the same all around the world?
It should be the same all around the world. Yeah, we have still problem with the custom for France, but it should work. So for the whole world, maybe France will be a few days later.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's cross fingers they make it.
So do you want to tell the viewers, before I go into it, do you want to tell the viewers what you think of this tank, what your concept was when you decided to design this one, being a little bit simpler, being a little bit cheaper? Obviously, we've got a slight shape change and colors and all that sort of stuff, but tell us what the idea was behind this one.
Yeah, you said it already, more simple. I think that the Squape R, especially also in the UK, the Squape R was very much famous. I think so. It was loved by the UK customers and all around the world. It was one of the most popular tanks we ever produced. There's still demand for this kind of tank. It's more simple. It's no fancy top fill, no juice control going on, something like that. So we said we want to make it as simple as possible, or with the benefits of the Squape E on the base. Like the smooth airflow, wider airflow. You can use it for MTL or direct lung, and so this was one of the first goal to make it simple.
Yeah, gotcha.
Second goal was make it more affordable.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And the third goal was, that it has the same weight and as the emotion and the design. So make it as small as possible. And so, that's why we
Gotcha. Okay, so there's a couple of things that I'm just going to fire at you now, because they're sort of interesting design choices, particularly in the current market. So, first of all, 22 mil still.
Yep. We're still producing 22 mil. I can tell you, might be a little bit surprise for you, but probably this year, I'm expecting this year, we will bring a 25 mil
okay.
version of the EC.
Excellent. Okay, that's going to be very interesting. So the other thing is, you mentioned it in the background there about the bottom fill. Tell me more about why you decided to go with that.
Yeah, that's because of the Squape R also. As I said, the Squape R it has still a demand, and we don't produce it anymore. And so we said, if you don't need any juice control, if you don't want to have a top fill, so let's make it like the Squape R. Exactly the same with the filling, the bottom fill. We slightly improved the bottom fill compared to the R. So we have a little notch inside and a little hole going on, so you can place the needle nose or whatever bottle, like Chubby Gorillas, you can place it a little bit better than the Squape R. So
Gotcha. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
now, obviously.
Just to add something, people ask us in the past, can we have a Squape R, or could you produce another tank which is more simple? You know, like not as fancy as the tanks are now on the market, and that's why we went with bottom fill again.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting, because obviously in this day and age, we all kind of are so used to a top fill just from the ease of it, without having to take anything apart. That it's a surprise when a tank comes out that isn't top fill, and it feels a little bit more old school, a little bit kind of more basic, which I guess that's exactly what you were going for.
Yeah, the feeling is like this, but I think you don't have to, if you say bottom fill is something from the past, but you're not if you have a tank where you have to unscrew the top cap first to refill it, or sometimes you have to close it first and then to unscrew the top cap, you're not as quick as with the Squape EC. So I think it's still comfortable to refill a bottom fill, as it's comfortable to refill something which is top fill.
And one of the good ideas about this is that, and this only occurred to me, I think, kind of yesterday or something. I took it apart and I was filling it up, and when I was putting it back together, I realized that obviously you don't need a juice flow control, you need none of that, because with the tank separated, you're not introducing air into that on top of the juice, which is generally with a top fill, when you close it up, that then forces the juice through those wick holes, doesn't it? And then that can cause flooding. So this way you're kind of reducing that potential from happening. Yeah,
that's right. So more simple.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned about the mouth to lung aspect of it. Now, this is something that I did want to talk about, because anyone that watches my channel knows that I really liked the Berserker tanks that came out last year, because they went down really, really tight. And one of my issues when I did a sort of a shootout between a K-Fun, a Hurricane, and a Siren last year or the year before, it was a case of really being able to get that proper proper tight mouth to lung. And it seems like there is a bit of a shift where, for me personally, I wanted to mouth to lung to replicate the smoking as much as possible, so have that sort of strong resistance. It seems as though there's a lot more people out there these days that do like a kind of a looser mouth to lung. Have you found that? Is that something that you found in your kind of your working? Is that why you've got a minimum of 1.3 as an adapter for the chimney?
I would say if you went down below 1.3 or below 1 mil, which is really proper tight mouth to lung, it wouldn't fit with the chimney. You know, the chimney is 4 mil. So and also with the decks. So the decks are made to have a proper juice flow. And if you tight it too much down, you get too much pressure into the tank, and so it can cause flooding. So we tested several different hole types, and we said, okay, 1.3. We think it's the maximum we can go down with this kind of tank, and it also fits a lot, a lot of vapors on the market which like a looser MTL. You know, it's not. I mean, we have also 1.6, which is included, which I like the most, and we also have a 2 mil, and so you
have options, which is great.
Yeah, we have options.
I must admit, I've got the 1.3 in the eMotion here, and there is that restriction there in order to allow it to be a mouth to lung for sure. It is on that looser mouth to lung side, but there is that certain restriction there. Absolutely.
You can also close the airflow ring further down, so you have to really adjust it really tight, and then when it's very tight with the 1.3, it also works. But when you get some some condensation going on at the AFC, then it's not that fun with too much long if you have some gurgling or something like that. So that's why we didn't go further down to below 1.3. So
okay. Now the other thing that you mentioned was the decks. Now obviously I've been trying a few different decks out since I've had the Extremes, and I've been having a jolly good time. Now I am a huge fan of the B deck. I keep forgetting which ones they are. The B deck with the big old single coil in it. Super easy to wick, just dead easy to build on, and an absolute joy. Now how many decks have you got available, Nate, these days?
3 decks. For the eMotion, there are 3 decks now. It's the WE deck, which is included. And the B deck, and the D deck for dual coil.
Yes, absolutely. Did you, when you were designing the decks and when you were designing the airflow, have you noticed any change in that process because people are using higher VG juice rather than just 50/50 like they used to?
Yeah, most of the juices, I think are now 70/30 or 80/20, so higher VG. So therefore, in the past, the Squape R, the eMotion is built on the Squape R. So the decks are very similar. And for the Squape R, we also introduced 2 other decks, the deck C and the deck S. They had really very thin channels, and the juices in the past was a 50/50 or something like that. So they were enough for this small channels. So now we decided we bring the WE deck with a wider channel, and the the BE deck, which has more room for bigger coils and also a lot more juice flow, and the D deck, which has a most juice flow.
Absolutely, and it's surprising for a kind of for a high end tank. I mean, having the airflow open just 1 hole, but I mean having it open 2 holes on the AFC, it's a very, very smooth vape.
It is. This is because the airflow goes straight to the coil from the bottom, so it doesn't have any steps going through the base. The Squape R was different. They had some steps inside the base where the airflow could reach the coil. This one we made like in the cars, if for the motors, and they how do you explain it? The air, if the air comes smooth through the motor, it's more proper, it's more silent, and so this one we made it also like a more like a, I don't know how you call it, but it's smoother. Let's say it like that.
It is. I mean, and one of the things that Todd and I often kind of argue about is I'm very aware of when there's a turbulent airflow, and Todd thinks I make it up quite a lot. But this one I think is very non-turbulent, the opposite of that. It is very smooth, and it's a very enjoyable and flavorful vape. So I'm definitely enjoying it. Now then, obviously is it 5 colors it comes in off the top of my head?
Sorry?
The EC, how many colors does this come in?
6 colors.
6 colors.
Including the black, which is standard.
Absolutely. I was close. So 6 colors. Was there lots of arguments in the office about which colors needed to be there?
Oh, no, not a lot. No, we knew which colors we want to take because we had also the similar colors at the Squape Ec. And also the X had also those colors, and we added the orange to the Emotion.
Yes.
So yeah, no, there weren't a lot of arguments about the colors.
Okay.
No rose. How do you say rosa or pink? No pink. So
no,
yeah.
that's
Trace, if you're watching this.
That would have been one I would have been getting, I imagine. With this, obviously, this is a product that you're very proud of. I think that personally, I feel that the shorter chimney on this does help really kind of give that little bit extra flavor, particularly at that very low wattages. I mean, at the moment, I'm doing I've got a 0.22 Clapton going on in here, and I am putting a monstrous 33 watts in it, but then again I am lung hitting it, and I think that the flavor I'm getting from this, and even for a quite a reasonable vapor production, is very nice indeed. I do notice that with the Emotion, I may have to kind of boost that up a little bit because that does have a slightly longer chimney, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. If the wave has to travel a longer way to your mouth, it cools down a little bit. So I think especially if the 2 mil version, you have a little bit more warmer vape, and a lot of people prefer this kind of vape. Absolutely. But if you prefer more cooler on the cooler side, then you go for the 5 milli.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously this is a product, I mean, I guess we should think about wrapping up now, but obviously this is a product that you're very proud of. Is there anything else that we've not covered today that you would like to kind of throw out there to the world and let people know anything else about this particular tank?
So yeah, I mean, we didn't talk about the price, but I don't know if you want to talk about the price. But I watched several shows. No, one show, but one particular show, and they said, "Oh well, it's still not affordable."
It's coming out at about £90, and I was going to touch on that in the other aspects of the video, but £90 and whatever that's going to equate to in the rest of the world. While we're talking about price, though, do you have distribution in America and other countries as well as the UK, presumably?
Yes, we are almost all over the world, also in China. A lot of people love our expensive products in China. And we are in the US, Europe, all around Europe, Germany, France, Switzerland, of course. Italy, it's a little bit difficult at the moment. And but also in eastern countries like Czech Republic.
Okay. Do you tend to find you have kind of one main distribution person in each country, or do you have a number of distributors in each country depending on size?
Yeah, we have one in Germany, which is our main distributor just for Germany, and he distributes a lot of shops in Germany that it's in taste. And we have in UK, we have also one. It's Crème de Vape. And all other countries, we are doing the distribution.
Okay,
so,
cool. What I'll do is I'll speak to you after we finish recording, and I'll make sure that I get a bunch of links down in the description of the video to let people know where they can go in their countries. Okay. I'm sure we can sort something like that out. So all in all, carry on. I interrupted you when you were telling me the wonderful things about the tank. Obviously, 90 quid. It's more affordable than the other Squapes, but it's still not, you know, one of the cheap and cheerfuls out there in the world.
We don't want to be, as I explained before, we don't want to be cheap. So if you buy a Squape, you buy still a Squape. Even it's more affordable now than the to the Emotion. Important is if you like the EC and you want, but you are missing the top fill, you can easily switch tanks. So you just can take the tank off the EC and put the tank of the Emotion onto the base. So the base is exactly the same. Also the decks, everything is compatible. Excellent. So this is very important. And also we will bring other types of tanks for the EC. So there will be probably some Ultim, you say Ultim?
Yeah, Ultim, yeah.
Ultim going on. Maybe a stainless steel version, a full stainless steel version without windows. And yeah, some bulky tanks probably for more capacity. So we will bring more accessories for this particular tank as we bring in the past for all other tanks. That's if you buy a Squape EC, it's not finished, so you can adjust,
customize it, and do what you like with it later down the line.
Yeah, right.
Great stuff. Okay, cool. Is there anything else you wanted to say today, Chris?
Oh no, thank you very much for all the questions about the EC. Thank you.
No, that's all right. No worries. Well, like I say, in the rest of this video, I will make sure, I don't know whether I'm going to put the interview at the front or at the back of it, but I will make sure that I do a breakdown of this and show people about the Emotion and the X Dream tank, as well as the dripper aspect of it as well. But I'll do a full breakdown and a build in this. I may even stretch to a 2 video thing. We'll see. But all in all, I've been having a great time with it, and I did buy this one, so it's not something that you sent to me, so I'm not kind of sucking up to you for it.
Thank you very much for buying the tank.
I think it's a great little tank, and I think for the variation that you've got in there, and the kind of, it's great to understand a little bit more about why you chose bottom fill, and you know, maybe the colors and all that sort of stuff, but also why it's the price that it is, because we've talked before, and we had a brief chat about price via messages, and it's not like you're charging £90 for it and you're making £60 profit on every tank, is it? You're not making, you know, hellish amounts of profit. That profit margin is squeezed right down to enable you to be able to get this tank out at the price that it is. Yeah,
that's true. So our margin is very tight. So we calculate on a very, we know what we have to earn. I mean, we need to earn something. So
yeah, of course.
Otherwise, you know.
You mean you don't just do the whole business for the love of it?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that, Chris. Hopefully this has been super enjoyable or interesting for, especially, I imagine Squape fans are gonna like this, because it does seem that Squape has a very strong following of people that kind of really just will buy every Stattqualm product going, because it just does have that quality kind of following that it's hard to achieve these days.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we have a great community, Squape community, and we are proud what we have achieved. We are still small, and I gave an interview in the past about 2014 or something like that, and one guy from the France magazine asked me, how big you want to go? How big you want to be in 5 years? And I said, we don't want to be big. We just want to be still as good as we are right now, or even better. So, but we don't want to be, we don't want to throw millions of tanks out of the market. That's not our goal. So, but we are happy with our community, and thank you very much.
Great stuff. Well, thank you very much for your time today, and I guess we will go back to the rest of the video now.
Okay, thank you very much.